The television. In the 1880s, German inventor Paul Nipkow developed the scanning disc. The scanning disc is a large flat metal disc with a series of small perforations organized in a spiral pattern. In short, the disc spun and each small hole scanned one line of a scene, allowing it to be televised. In the late 1880s and the 1990s, the cathode ray tube was invented. Since TV images could not float from one place to another, the cathode ray tube was used as a way to encode television images at a transmission point, a TV station, and decode them at a reception point, the TV set. The first TV transmission. In 1907, a Russian physicist named Boris Rosen improved Paul Nipkow's scanning disc. Boris's lab assistant, Vladimir Zworykin, would leave for the United States of America in 1923 to work for RCA, the Radio Corporation of America. Little did Boris know, Vladimir would invent one of the most revolutionary technologies in television's history. Working for the Radio Corporation of America, in the year 1923, Vladimir invented the iconoscope, the very first TV camera tube to convert light rays into electronic signals. He would later patent this technology in 1928. Knowing a mechanical scanning system would not send pictures through the air over long distances, a teenager at the time by the name of Philo Farnsworth was working on a very similar idea. On September 7, 1927, he would transmit the first electronic picture. In the year 1952, the Federal Communications Commission, also known as the FCC, approved an experimental CBS color system. But there was a slight issue with these early color systems. Because most Americans owned black and white TV sets, this new color system was incompatible for the majority of America. 2 years later, in 1954, broadcasting powerhouse RCA came up with their own color system. The difference being, this color system allowed the older black and white TV sets to receive the images also. In 1966, CBS, NBC, and ABC began broadcasting in color, making color systems the new standard for televisions across the nation. With over 90% of Americans owning at least one TV set, television proved itself to be a prominent mass medium. Quiz shows are very popular among Americans. A massive scandal would hurt the reputation of television as a whole as a trustworthy medium. A scandal involving the popular show 21 would result in networks dropping of quiz shows completely. Arthur C. Clarke, a British science fiction author, physicist, and mathematician, had visions of the future that were much like the way television systems were heading. In 1945, Arthur wrote about using space satellites to receive and transmit communication signals. At the time, this was inconceivable, but as a science fiction author, this was not far from the realm of possibility for such an abstract thinker. Although, some may have thought this idea was a stretch. Credit is given where credit is due. Today, Arthur is regarded as the man who published the original theories for a global communication system based on 3 satellites equally spaced from one another, rotating with the Earth's orbit. During the 1950s, the second most powerful nation at the time, the Soviet Union, sent a satellite to orbit the Earth. They called this satellite Sputnik 1. The United States was quick to follow suit, launching a satellite of their own, proving Arthur C. Clarke wasn't so crazy after all. In 1960, AT&T launched Telstar, the first satellite of its kind. Telstar was capable of receiving, amplifying, and returning signals. Telstar was able to relay telephone and the occasional TV signal. The very first cable system was Community Antenna Television, formerly known as CATV, originating in the 1940s. Cable's breakthrough was the launch of domestic communication satellites, as mentioned earlier. In 1975, HBO was the first cable network to be launched. Cable was a two-tiered structure: basic cable services like CNN and premium cable services like HBO. Cable had hit 70% by 1999. In 1967, Congress passed the Public Broadcast Act, establishing the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, and later, in 1969, the Public Broadcasting Service, PBS. Not only did this provide programs for viewers over the age of 50, but public television impacted audiences under the age of 12. The popular children's series we all grew to love became extremely popular. such as Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Barney and Friends. Direct broadcast satellites, cable without wires, recognized and capitalized on cable's weak spot, which was the inconvenience of cable installation. Instead of using wires, DBS transmits its signals directly to small satellite dishes near or on a customer's home. In 1978, the first DBS system was established. The 1996 Telecommunications Act brought television under the same federal rules that long governed the radio and telephone. This resulted in the merging of all three industries in the triple bundle packages we see today: TV, phone, and internet.